You're listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.
All right, we're here with the good folks of ShurMed EMS. Melissa?
Yes. Hey.
Tell us a little about it.
We are ShurMed EMS, and this company started in 2010. We're an EMS transport company. So that was how we got started. We were transporting interfacilities, discharges. Then we fast forward to 2017. During this time when the ambulance business had started, we identified that there was a lot of billing issues. So to really resolve the issue, we needed an in-house billing department. So with ShurMed EMS, we created our ArcLight MBC, which is ArcLight Medical and Billing Consulting, and created that so we were able to sustain with the ambulance portion and billing and really provide that great service and get the coverage that the patients needed for all the transports. Fast forward 3 years to the pandemic, where the world stopped and medicine really started changing then. We didn't know this was going to happen. The entire nation, the entire world was just taken back. So it changed the way we do medicine. So in 2017, we realized then we needed to pivot. We did everything that we could to help the city. We band with the community, offered our services, and we also too had to transition. We lost a lot of field staff for contract work. And it happens not only in the ambulance industry, but every industry out there. So that made ShurMed EMS pivot again and create our ArcLight education. We wanted to now bring in the citizens who wanted to make a career change and be able to train them and offer them work. So we went ahead and did that, and the pandemic changed another thing about healthcare. A lot of people couldn't go anywhere. So we pivoted into our ArcLight Medical, which was mobile integrated health, which is a service we have available that we call Care in Place. So it's a great company. We've been around since 2010. We've been operating, and we're excited to be here and tell you what we can do for the transport side, for the care side, and how we can assist you billing and get you educated.
That's awesome. There's I really like the, I guess, care in place type style. Yeah. That was one thing that, especially during COVID, everybody had the cooties, right? Yeah. Nobody. And I always told my wife, I said, even going to, a doctor's office or an emergency care, the older I get, the more, I guess, germophobic I become, right? Yes. And so you walk in there and I tell her, if I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get sick going to the doctor, And there's a few it's a popular one around town that I won't name names, but, you go to them and they're not the cleanest place, And to me, to be able to have the opportunity to have somebody come to my house, as dirty as it might be, and be able to provide, care there, or at least over the phone, being able to do it over the phone, being able to, a lot of times it's a sore throat, it's a stomach ache, it's something simple that I just need a prescription for. I don't want to have to take a shower, get dressed, drive across town, go to my doctor, sit in that office, and literally it's 2 hours every time I go. It's not like you're in and out.
Yeah.
A minimum.
Yep.
So that's not any good for somebody that doesn't feel well. So let's get into some of the departments that you guys have.
Yeah, we will. I know that you are eager and excited for our Care in Place program, but we're going to take you through each department and show you how it all ties in from our EMS standpoint to billing to education. And we'll start with our Director of Operations.
Yeah, so my name is Luis Barrera. Everyone calls me Lab. I've been in the EMS world since 2005, 2006, something like that. So this is hitting my 19th year.
Wow.
Just about, yeah. I'm a paramedic. I came into ShurMed as a shift commander, which is technically a supervisor, right? And now I am the Director of Operations. And what does that mean? It means that we have to make sure that all operations is done well. And with that, it ties into every department. Communications, billing, education, and marketing as well, right? So it's making sure that all these departments work well with each other. What makes us better than everybody else? Our customer service, right? If you look at our Google reviews, we're pretty high up there. I think we're at 4.8, something like that. So that's pretty high. That's what makes us different than any other company. Some of the stuff that we are working behind closed doors, behind the scenes, is we're trying to finalize deals on new ambulances that are coming in, new monitors, new vents, stuff like that. Stuff that we use, stuff that's gonna just give us that wow factor, right? Not that we don't already have it, but just gonna give us more of a wow factor, right? So like I mentioned, we're finalizing these deals, and that's gonna make us better than some of the other companies, for sure. We already are at this point. I want to say we are, and we're about to become better than them, for sure. And so, what is my day-to-day thing that I do for Director of Operations is making sure that all of our fleet is ready to go, our staff is ready to go, making sure that they want to be there that morning, making sure that the night before they want to go to sleep and say, hey, I can't wait to go work tomorrow. Yeah. Because that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create an amazing work environment for them as well. So that's kind of my goal. And with all that, we have an amazing management team. And we all work very well together, making sure that all that happens. And that's the Director of Operations for ShurMed.
How many folks do you guys have in your department?
I want to say we're at 120, maybe 130.
Is that with the whole company, or is that just
on the EMS side?
Okay, on the EMS
I think
side.
we have about 20 office people as well.
So what part of, I guess, where are you guys located? Is there like a parent hub, or y'all have different hubs all over the...
So we do have our main hub, which is on Medical, on Network Boulevard. And then we have our other department, or where building sits, which is on Brady, over there on Highway 90, and that's where they're at. Technically, that's our substation as well. We can come out of there as well, have our EMS trucks come out of there as well. But right now, our main station is on Medical Drive, or Medical area.
And I know we're going to get into the education portion, but do y'all have specific, like, for your department, like trainings, and as far as like, I guess, renewals and things of that nature? Is that type of thing where you have to renew certification, and do y'all do that in-house?
Yes.
Or does that get sent
So all of our fleet is required to maintain their CEs, which is continuing education. So everybody has to maintain their certification for whatever ranking there are. So there's EMTs, advanced, and there's paramedics. We also hire our LVNs and RNs. So we do have that as well, because they tie into the care in place as well.
Okay.
And so so we depend a lot on our education department as far as getting the CEs out, getting these classes out, and she'll talk about that more. But that's how we maintain our guys and our fleet, our staff. They have to maintain their certification. It's through obviously the Texas department, and they have to make sure that their hours are done and kept up every 4 years, or they're doing their national every 2 years. So
That's awesome.
That's how we keep up with them.
That's awesome. Good deal.
And the really cool thing about that is EMTs, the paramedics, sometimes they do have to pay for those continued education classes. If they're here with ShurMed EMS, we actually provide them to them for free.
Oh, wow.
So it's they could be costly. I don't know, the cost on them, but they are costly, and so it's a nice perk to have.
Yeah,
at
definitely.
ShurMed.
There's a lot of continuing education type things where it's kind of one of those things where you're reimbursed, right? Yeah. But it gets difficult where a lot of times for folks where it's only reimbursable if you pass, kind of thing, so it comes out of pocket for folks, and it's nice when that's available to you. Somebody's going to pay for it as opposed to you coming out of your pocket. Yeah. It's very strange, and I get we all have terrible spending habits at times in our lives, but there's times where it's like I can't even afford to go take this test. Even if I wanted to, I can't go do it, so to have that available to you is it's got to be huge for folks.
Yeah, so I know they're very costly, and I'll go back into that. I would prefer to buy shoes over a class, and so that benefits me in so many ways to have the education department there. I'm going to be very honest about that, and some of these people already know that. So I would waste my money on shoes, and then I would worry with like the CEs later on, but
well, I mean, it comes in last minute, right? We always have the employees that are like, and about CEs, check out these cool kicks.
You're like, hey, when is your when is your cert up? Oh, next week. Oh God. Well, let's get Tina involved then.
I can't fix that. Sorry.
Well, it's funny because like I used to work at a jail a long time ago. And having the right equipment, not only helps you throughout your day, right? Because you're comfortable, you're able to stand longer, you're able to do whatever you need to do longer. But when you have that equipment, there's a level of confidence that just comes with it in general, you know? And when you have somebody show up and they're trying to save people's lives, I want a confident person.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
Definitely.
and if it's shoes, if it's equipment, if it's gear, if it's the newest thing, I mean, it's worth it. You know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, I've worked with different people, welders and things of that nature, that it always came down to their equipment, you know, and they did a better job when they had everything they needed. And, you know, it's money, right? It's always, things are expensive, nothing's cheap, but to be able to provide a good service to your client, a lot of that comes through just these little things that are done right. It's the proper training. It's feeling confident. It's having people who want to do the job. You know, in other industries that I've come from, there's times where it's like, we bring people in and they're just there. It's a paycheck, right? And you know, it's amazing when I tell the guys at work, they go, man, this guy's really good. And I say, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you want to be there. You want to do that job. And in the industry that your guys in, it's way more critical than what I do, right? So to be able to save lives, make people feel better, have confidence in you guys, that's all interconnected.
Yeah.
That's our overall goal, is that we want the medic to show up and provide you with the best service, to have the top of the line equipment. It's all moves that we're making to make it happen, because we know that the future of healthcare may be in the home, but either way, you still have to be transported at some point. So allowing our team from director of operations, and we'll see how education ties into communications, you know, our first line of defense. Not only that, but creating our own billing department. The billing portion of our business is very interesting. And healthcare's changing.
I've heard it's a nightmare.
Yes, Iris. We'll get hurt.
Is that what interesting meant?
And so you know how
Gotcha.
hard it is to pay your own bills, much less if you've gone through a medical situation. I know that I have, and the only reason I was able to navigate well was because I had experience reading and interpreting contracts. If I didn't have that skill, I would have been just as lost. And so it's leaning into that. You have our billing department. We are going to transport you, give you the best service, most likely save your life. But on the back end, we're going to make sure that we save you that money also. That we're really searching for your insurance to cover, that we've taken care of you, we've provided the care. But not only that, financially, we're gonna do everything that we can to help you in that manner too, because it's an all around situation. Anybody who's had their parents sick, or you've been sick and you've gotten those bills, you know how stressful it can be. And we know that for these people.
It's overwhelming, yeah.
And so I know Gabe, and Gabe knows me. We grew up together in the same town. And so we both had our parents fall ill, and we had to deal with that. And this type of service, the things that I get the opportunity to do here, will make a difference. So my brother Sean had gave a great speech about how in order to be good, you align from the top. And so that's the beauty of this company, is that we are all in alignment. We're all getting in alignment to really change how we treat and care for people from beginning to end. From the employee's education to coming on to work on our ambulance, to maybe being innovative and getting to provide care in place, but also walking them through the billing portion of it. So all of these things in all of these departments, they matter, and they're successful because of these leaders, for sure.
You know, it's funny because to sound, this isn't a great way to live your life, but I've known I had a lot of people that will not be feeling well, and they need to go to the hospital, or they need to go to the doctor, and they literally said, it's too expensive, I don't want to go. You know, and it's terrible when people would rather ignore symptoms than go to the doctor, just because, you know, granted, you're going to get in, they're going to take care of you, they're going to get you, you know, stable, they're going to send you home. And then a month later, you get this astronomical bill that you've got to pay out of pocket. And it's like, yeah, you've got to pay something out of pocket, but it's like, that's the kind of thing that, and I'll speak for older Mexicanos, because those are the ones that I know. You know, they're the ones that are like, I don't want to go. You know, we can't afford it, I'm not going. And the thought process there is they're basically saying, I'm risking my health than having to take it on a bill that I know I can't pay. and so any sort of help in that area, or any sort of, even if you're not doing anything to help save them money, but you're actually helping them structure the billing to where it's falling under where it needs to. And you know what? It may be a $50,000 bill as opposed to a $100,000 bill because it was coded properly, And, those are the kinds of things that, when grandma gets home and she gets the mail and she sees that, the hospital charged her $120,000, that's never getting paid by her. She's just, and then, the family's going to get involved, and the family's going to pitch in, and it turns into, there were times where I know it wasn't an actual conversation that came out this way, but it was implied, where it was like, you get your older folks that get sick and they need help, and all of a sudden they feel like they're a burden on the rest of the family because now everybody else has to pitch in for bills and groceries and gas, and and you do it lovingly because you want to, but to be able to have somebody going, hey, I'm going to take a little bit more time with your procedures that you had done and your bill on the billing side, and we're going to make sure that what can get covered is going to get covered.
That's why our billing department was made. And so for this, as director of operations, the instant that you call ShurMed EMS, I started in communications.
Yes.
I interviewed with Maria. It was cool. Everybody, when I went in to interview, looked happy. I don't know if she told them to smile that day or what. We're like, everybody just... So it was a cool environment to enter in. I wanted that transition, and I wanted to just be in this dispatch world for whatever reason. I wanted to change, and I got to interview with Maria, and she luckily offered me the position. But what you're talking about from beginning to end is that customer service, how we bill you, starts right there in her department.
Yep.
And so...
Yeah, so my name's Maria. I've been with ShurMed for, what is it? How many years? 9 years.
A lot of years.
Yeah, so I've been with ShurMed for a very long time.
She built it, pretty much.
And I wish I could say I built it, but I did not. But yeah, I started there. I started my career in the law enforcement side of dispatching. So I dispatched for Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
But it's very hard to differentiate yourself from, reality. Like, you're hearing things on the phone. So trying to leave that at the workplace, it's hard. So transitioning into the non-emergent side was my thing. Like, I can still do this. I enjoy what I do, provide that awesome customer service to the person on the other side of the phone, but it's not always as life-threatening as 911. So that's where, I began. And then I trickled into the EMS side, and just, everything was great from there. But yeah, Melissa says, customer service, it starts there. By the time you pick up the phone and you answer, you want to have dispatchers that are knowledgeable and compassionate about what it is that you need. And then, like you guys are saying, you have to know what can and cannot be billed for transportation, because it's not as simple as just, I need transportation, let me call. But our dispatchers work hand in hand with billing, and we just make sure that, from the start of the call to the end of the call, that everybody's happy and everybody's going to be satisfied walking away. So our thing is really, customer service. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see everybody come together and grow the way they are.
That's an interesting job, because, a lot of, and it goes for all of you guys, but, when somebody's calling into you, typically, especially like you talk about law enforcement dispatch, it's peak, the house is on fire, somebody's dying, that's a very stressful job to have, and to be able to come in and do it day in and day out, and kind of, and the crazy thing is, you might have 10, life and death calls, but the stress that you got off of the first 5, you can't bring that into the 6th.
Nope.
So how do you guys harness your chi? How do you kind of relax and reset yourself? Because that's a lot of stress.
Yeah, it is. You just kind of got to laugh it off, as odd as that seems. So you have to build that culture inside the dispatch area for us anyways. I'm sure out there in the field as well. But you have to build that culture that you can be, you feel safe with everybody there. You can say what you need to say. You can step away if you need to step away. So just knowing and having that compassion for each other, not just our patients, but for each other, it really helps.
So it's almost like a internal support group.
Yeah.
You guys kind of are there for each other. And,
Yep.
you kind of, I guess in that industry, you all see the similar kinds of things, and it impacts you differently in different ways. So being able to support each other is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Yep.
That's real good.
So-
And you said you've been doing it for 9 years. How many people do you have in your dispatch?
Currently, we have 7 dispatchers. That's for 24/7 operations. So we slimmed down a little at night. We're really hoping to get that peak volume. Once we do, we'll adjust. But right now, we have about 7 dispatchers.
So you're not currently looking to hire in that department just yet?
Not currently, but with the help of our business development department, we're looking
It'll
to
increase.
We
Yeah.
will be hiring soon.
Okay, good.
In like 7 days.
Okay. Okay. It's so interesting because there's so. I recently took a new job. I haven't been doing much for a month, so that's a whole nother story. But it's amazing how much the different industries need workers, and I don't understand it. But it's like everybody needs to hire folks, and so it's kind of one of those things where, as a young person who's starting out their career and whatever they want to do, to be able to say, you know what, really put some thought into what you want to do, because there's a lot of availability, in all different types of industries. So 7 days, send in your application.
You can send it in now. You can send it in right now.
We'll talk about later where to send it to. So let's get into some of the billing portion. I would say probably you're all critical, but I would say at the end of a catastrophe, that's where everybody focuses. So a lot of times, it's probably not the most thankful position, is it?
Yeah, especially because okay, so we have the national level, right? That's CMS. They control how the money is spent nationally for all healthcare. When you think about it, ambulance is only 0.83% of that whole industry. So it is a very misunderstood world, and like you said, it's not the best position to have, especially because we are the ones that have to have to say no most of the time, and that we have to say tell them what it's going to cost to them, right? But we have to approach that with a lot of compassion, especially because we do try to treat everybody how we would treat our family members, right? So in instances where a transport is not going to be covered or anything like that, we do try to explain to the patient with a lot of compassion, and as well give them options, because aside of being like the compassionate side of the healthcare, we have all the red tape that insurance brings, right? So even if it's that we have to refer them to somebody else for the bill to be covered, then we will do that.
I was going to ask you that. So I guess there's certain aspects of the industry where you've got to, billing is probably the last portion, because you've got to take care of the critical need immediately, right? It's a heart attack, it's a car wreck, it's somebody bleeding, So we've got to take care of this person, and we'll figure out the billing later.
Yes.
But I guess when it comes to maybe transport, we talked about Dad, for example, there was times where he might need to be moved from one hospital to another, or from one town to another. When you're in a rural community, you'll go to the local place, but hey, we need to send him to a larger city. Yeah. So when you need that service, that's where you guys come in and say, hey, that gives you more time, I guess, to evaluate the need and the cost, and say, you know what, we're not going to be a good fit for this, or hey, we are going to be a good fit. So that's something that you guys take into consideration before the transport happens or whatever. Gotcha.
Yes, we do let them know right up front. That way, they don't get surprised with any more bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dispatchers are really knowledgeable. Iris has been our saving grace at ShurMed. She teaches us, billing on a certain level, because we can't get down into the, trenches like she does, but she gives us a general idea. And so we can say, okay, if it's this type of transport, we can or cannot. If they have this type of insurance, we can or cannot. And if we can't, like she said, we will offer, another service and say, let's call this person instead, and they can help you out.
That's awesome. So you guys are already, I mean, there's a lot of communication in between the two of you, to where it doesn't even need to get to her. You guys already know, I guess, kind of like your base points and stuff.
Yeah.
Iris runs a great department.
She really does.
110%. If I was going to take one person to learn about leading people from, 110% Iris.
Awesome.
Her ability, her team, the way they respect her, you can see it. You can walk in and see how tight-knit her team is and how she's trained them. And
somebody pat her on the back.
Yeah, right. Because I don't think billing gets enough pats on the back, because what they do is not easy.
Yeah. And you're involved, I'm sure, with all departments because you're billing, right?
Yes.
So whether it's paying for the education level or it's transports or it's, I mean, everything at some point comes to you because everything costs money.
Yes. Well, right now, education, it's like a superstar in itself right now, because Miss Tina is the one like doing everything by herself right now. She's rocking at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but as far as like the billing department and managing and all of that they're saying, it's because I also learned a lot from our boss, right? Because one of the main and most important things is that we are managing a job. We're working with people, but what we're managing is the task.
Yeah.
And I think that is really, really important.
So is I know your CEO didn't come, but is this kind of a culture that comes from him, or is it kind of trickled from him through all departments kind of thing, or?
Yeah, it really stems from him. He expects us to, it's not just clinical, it's not just communications, billing, education, and business development, and you have your separate bubbles. He has a diagram that he likes to show us, and it's all parties interlocking and working together. If you don't, then you're setting yourselves up for failure.
Yeah.
It's funny because and not to go down any rabbit holes, but a lot of times when you see failures and things, it's because departments aren't communicating well, and just in this short period of time we've been talking, it seems like you guys are connected very well, which ultimately at the end of the day makes for a good working environment, but also the end product to the client, right?
Yes.
It's almost like if you guys work hard to do well together, that's going to automatically reflect in your interactions and the services that you're providing to folks. So that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Education?
Education.
I've been waiting for this.
Yes. The superstar.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I don't think so. My name is Tina, and oh God, I don't believe I'm going to say this. I got into EMS in 1984.
So you were 7.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Prodigy?
No, I was 19 years old in 1984.
Okay.
Okay,
He's gonna own it.
I'm. Oh God, I'm old.
I'll beep it. I'll beep it out. I'll beep it out to you.
So I've worked for a variety of services, from 911 to hospital ERs to doctor's offices. I got into education 12 years ago, and so my sister and I started a training program where we were living, and it did very well. And so we both figured out that that's something we really liked doing, was teaching. So one day I was just kind of scrolling through, the want ads, and I came across this position for director of education in San Antonio. So I applied, and they hired me. So we all moved to San Antonio, my family and I, and we started this education department. So right now what we do is we will teach basic EMT, advanced EMT. We are working on our paramedic curriculum. There is a whole process that I have to go through for that, and we are going through that task by task. So that hopefully will be coming soon. We also teach continuing education classes. As they've mentioned, we do them for the ShurMed employees, also for the general public. So we teach all...
Oh, so general public can come through?
Yes.
Like if you want to learn CPR or
Exactly.
something like that?
Yes.
Okay. We teach CPR. We teach all of the American Heart classes. We also teach the Red Cross classes. And then we teach things that are specifically for EMS, which these are classes from the National Association of Emergency Medical Technicians. And so that helps with the employees or employees of other facilities to get their CE hours. Because again, they're not cheap and they are kind of hard to find. Okay.
One thing that I actually enjoy is it starts from the beginning with the EMTs, the paramedics out there on the field. When you're QAing or reviewing their reports and stuff like that, and you say, could we have done this a little bit better? Our clinical director goes to meet with our education director and says, can we put a class together for this and, just teach them how to do this just a little bit better? And they can get that stuff done. And it's so awesome having that internally.
That's awesome. So your knowledge base is got to be extremely broad. I'm sure you've got a style to your teaching method, but to be able to give this information to folks and one thing that I think is cool, just listening to you talk is the services you guys provide is amazing and very helpful. But you, on the other hand, you are responsible for. You're gonna go out. You're gonna save 10 lives this week, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like the people that
which we do
every week.
And it's like the people that you train are going out and saving 10 lives this week. So ultimately, you may have saved 200 lives this week, and that's just from some knowledge that you've acquired, your teaching methods, the knowledge base that you're sharing with younger folks that are getting into the industry, and it's like your footprint in saving lives in the community is huge. That's awesome.
I'll be honest, I never really thought about it that way.
It's important. It's amazing.
Don't let Tina fool you. She has a plethora of education in her mind. She's working on her doctorates. She is an amazing medic. She got to do things she wasn't always living in the United States. And in different countries, they offer medicine differently. And Tina got to be a part of that. That's something awesome. That our culture is moving to, but she already has that leg up.
Yeah.
So these courses that she's putting together, that she teaches and her team works on, this is the curriculum given by the state, and we offer these courses, and we have financial assistance available. So Tina's brain and knowledge, you're right. You've probably already saved like 200,000 lives. You don't even know it. But great instructors for sure. So don't let her just kind of downplay you like, I know about medicine. No, she knows a lot about medicine.
What got you into the industry initially when you back in the 1900s?
Yes, we did actually still take our tests on stone tablets.
Okay. What are those?
To be perfectly, I have two little sisters and they're twins. Okay, and we were all attending college at the same college together. My sisters both wanted to be doctors. They're registered nurses now and paramedics. The oldest of the twins had found a flyer for an EMT class, and she thought it would look good on their resume. But they wouldn't go without me. They were scared.
So what are you doing at the time currently?
Back then. I was pre-law.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
And they drug you into the...
So we all went to this class, and it was at night, And I remember thinking when we left the first night on the way home, thinking, what have we done? And that was it.
Yeah.
For that matter, Lab, what were you doing? How did you get into this?
Actually, I was in nursing school.
Okay.
I was in A&M in Laredo, and I spoke about this the other day with the management team. That was my actual goal, was to become, or to follow that pattern, right? Or that path. And then my mom got sick with cancer. And so in my hometown, they couldn't transport her from there. She needed to move to San Antonio for a higher level of care. And so that kind of made me wonder, like, why? What was going on, right? And so that kind of drove me into, like, hey, I need to kind of go into that world and see what's going on. And so then I did, right? And I became a paramedic, and I started doing, like, critical care transfers from my hometown to San Antonio. And that's what got me into. So all I've ever known is EMS. I've never known anything else but EMS. So I wasn't doing anything else as far as, like, work. I've never known anything else. Thank God for my parents, because they gave me that life, I guess. And all I've ever known is EMS. So this is why I have such a passion for it. It's a fire that burns deep. And there's a reason behind it. Yeah. And this is why I love this team, because I've been around as well. I've been in 911 services. I've been in hospitals as well. But this team right here is very different than any other team I've ever worked with. It is insanely amazing to work here, because the respect that you get from everybody here, the respect that you give them as well, it just shows, right? Yeah. And it's, hearing everybody else, and it's kind of weird how this happens, how this works, right? It starts off with the marketing, right? She goes out, markets our EMS services, and tells them, hey, we have this great services, call us, right? And they might, right? Or they might not. And then they call us. So communications gets involved in that, right? And so they take the call. And so customer service, all from the beginning, all from marketing, starts from there, right? And then it trickles down to communications, right? They'll take the call, and then they're like, okay, yeah, this sounds like a good service, right? But now let's see your EMS people, right? Let's see how good they are. And so now my people, my fleet, right? Or my staff, right? They go out and take this call, and it shows if that's really what we are about, right? And so they do, right? They do an amazing job, because we teach them well, and then that comes down to education as well, right? It's how well they got taught by that department, right? And then guess what? Billing comes in, right? Just to kind of finish it all off and be like, all right, yeah, this is such great marketers, amazing. Their communications is amazing. Their EMS, spot on, because of their education. And now let's see their billing, right? I want to get a bill that says 0 on it, right? That's the goal, right?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, and that's where she comes in. And so it's crazy how this whole team works, right?
Yeah.
And to one call, that's what it takes. All this team for one call.
You know what's funny is it's so critical that it sounds like you have a good group. It sounds like you have a great team. It's so critical. There's often times where you'll go to the hospital, or, whether it was with dad or grandma back in the day, and not to sound negative, but there's a lot of times when you do a job and you do it repetitively over a number of years, you start to lose that connection and that compassion, right? And it's difficult. Like you go to the hospital, you've got a doctor that's going to make his rounds, and he's got an hour to see 20 people. He's going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. And when you're sick, especially like my parents, they're all, to them, whatever the doctor says is law. It's God talking, right? I learned, yes, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to ask questions, but it's funny because you start to feel when you're not doing well, when you're in the hospital, or when you're sick, or whether you're out in town and something happens to you, you're extremely vulnerable. And to deal with somebody that for whatever reason they're treating you like a number or an injury, there still has to be a connection between us, right? Yeah, there still has to be that compassion, because I'm vulnerable, and I'm putting my trust in you. I'm putting my trust in all of you, right? And to be able to have a group that's going to come in and go, hey, we're going to do everything everybody else is going to do, but we're going to do it with some sympathy and some compassion. And you know what? I get that you're frustrated and angry, and you might be having a heart attack or a stroke or something. I always tell people when I worked at the jail, they talk so much trash or get onto us. And I always tell people, don't take it personally. They're yelling at the badge, right? They're yelling at the uniform. Just be cool about it. And a lot of times it's hard to do that when you're under pressure and you're doing it daily. But when you can do that, it makes a difference in people's lives, because you may be interacting with them for 5 minutes on the way to the hospital, or even maybe 20 minutes to drive them to another side of town. But when you can kind of make them feel comfortable, when you can ask a few questions and kind of take their mind off of what's happening to them, it goes a long way, because a lot of folks, they're going to sit in the hospital for 3 days. And when they sit there and they go, man, I had a terrible experience, or if I had a great experience, they're going to sit there and they're going to think about that, And that's, I think, something that, in the medical industry, it's a lot of work. It's difficult, but you see less and less of that compassion and giving you time and things of that nature. So that's cool that you have that interaction with folks. That's awesome.
Yes.
Mel?
So we've met the entire team, and like Lab said, it's amazing to get to work
we're hitting your time
with these. I know. It's okay, guys. It was just a small measurement.
She's keeping us in line today. Melissa's keeping us in line today.
That's what marketers do. No, but like he said, from beginning to end, this team is amazing to work with. So I came from dispatch, and I wanted the opportunity to market this company. I was doing some marketing on the side, but really wanted to say we should be doing better. We should be advertising. Let's just strategize and let's do this. And so I really fought for this position. It wasn't open. I think I just said, you should open this for me.
Yeah, I remember she reached out to me. She's like, hey, what do you think? You think I could get it? I was like, yeah, go for it.
So I got letters of recommendation from everybody. I had everybody, I presented a plan because I knew that our services were better because we have this great team. And because you don't get to work with people like this, that you always have this great chemistry. We don't always agree. Maria will say I yelled at them the other day through text. And
did she yell?
May not be true.
It was all capital letters.
Caps.
That's the thing. With her text,
It's because we're truly passionate about care from beginning to end, from the medic standpoint to first line of defense, customer service to billing. And within that, we touch base about our care in place service. And this service I'm the program director for this particular service that we had. So I worked with the nurse that we have on staff, Eddie. I know he couldn't make it today, but he's still my partner at heart.
Yeah. We love you, Eddie.
We're coming for you, Eddie. And so we built the standard protocol for responding to a care in place call that we know as a transport industry. The billing's defined on how much you're going to get paid for a transport, right? But we said, whoa, maybe it's not in the best patient's interest to transport right now. So we said, look, let's identify these calls. Let's work with the customers and let them be aware that they have a different option where a medic can come out. You call us, you tell us, hey, I'm not feeling well today. Okay, we're gonna listen to your symptoms, and we're gonna take the call, and then we're gonna say, you know what? You probably don't need to go to the hospital. You do need to see a doctor, right? But you can't get there. Our medic goes out to your home, it's a complete head to toe patient assessment. We get on the line with our doctor. We get you diagnosed and treated. If you need a prescription, we'll get it. If the doctor requires additional labs, we have the ability to do that. If there's additional things needed in the home that we identify, we have the ability to do most of them. And what we don't have the ability to do, it's okay. We'll get it taken care of for you from beginning to end, where you never have to leave your home. And that the beauty of this service is, you talked about it in the beginning, right? How many times have you gone to the hospital for maybe a small cold, and then you come out with the flu? Or in these patients' situation, my parents going to the hospital isn't always the best option, because if they get MRSA or staph or the flu or anything, they're in a vulnerable state.
Sure.
It's not going to be a good situation. So I have put them at risk by saying, go to the hospital. So this service is about bringing the hospital to your home.
Sure.
And it's going to be, it's innovative. It's changing. There's not a lot of guidelines on how we bill for this, on how it's covered, on how this is going to work for everybody in the industry. We know that from a medical standpoint, a lot of the reason that you're saying compassion is missing is because these professionals are burnt out.
Sure.
It happens. We had COVID. So it's not about saying we're going to compete directly with the hospital and the ER. No. The emergency room is there for emergencies.
True.
We want to help this staff, this community of nurses, not be inundated with things that we can take care of in the home. That it's a relationship together that we build with every hospital in the city of San Antonio to offer this service to everybody within Bexar County, and we can expand further from there. You and I both came from rural communities, so we know how hard it is to wake up in the morning, drive an hour and 20 minutes, help your mom load your dad in the car, then take them to, right? They need higher level of care. Yeah. So now we got to drive them into the city. Those things where maybe some of these things can be treated right there. Is there a way to pair with the community to say, hey, let's talk about the benefits that you do have and how we can bring the care to you, and talk about how it benefits every hospital and every doctor who can't maybe see every patient. How can we work together to facilitate these services for human beings?
Sure.
It's human beings treating human beings, because healthcare is a basic need. We know that there has to be money involved. We want to be compassionate and caring, and we want to be compliant also, but we do have to sustain the business model to get the people out there, which is why we're working directly with insurance companies to say, hey, this is a new model and this is how we're shifting. So let's work on this together, because it's what's best for the patient. And how do we meet those needs? As Iris touched, there's certain percentages allocated for certain services for healthcare, even at the state level, even at the federal level. So how do we confirm that those funds are being used wisely for a service that's helping overall? And that's what this program is about. And we can service you from beginning to end at ShurMed EMS, but we're willing to work with everybody who's interested in this service. We're here to answer your questions. If you need help on the transport side or you don't know, give us a call and we can maybe offer you the care in place option, or we can at least give you some assistance on where to go and how this works with your insurance.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that the way you put that, because the care in place thing I think is pretty awesome. Yes. Especially when you can avoid, you know, and this is from experience, you know, when mom would take dad to the hospital or the ER, you know, it was literally 6 to 9 hour wait, you know, and when you're talking about a 70-year-old with heart conditions, and you've got another 60-year-old who's got her own medical issues, and they've got to sit in the uncomfortable waiting room, you know, with other 6 folks for, you know, 8 hours. Yeah. You know, if it's something that somebody can come in and go, hey, maybe you're not having a heart event, it's your blood pressure, and, you know, we can get you some medication or whatever we need to do. And it keeps folks from having to go to the ER and sit there for 9 hours, which ultimately starts to cut down on the ER wait time, right? Yes. So we can avoid, like you said, if you can avoid having to go to the ER because it's only for emergencies, but if you can avoid that, now all this stuff starts to trickle down, and all of a sudden the wait times get shorter, and the service will get better, and now burnout happens less. It's a lot of this stuff is just interconnected. It's all touching each other, right? And when you can alleviate some pressure in one area, it alleviates pressure in multiple areas. And so being able to have that type of service and have that option for folks, they may need to go to the ER, you know, but if it's something that isn't as critical, you know, if you go to the ER and you're not having a heart event, you're sitting there all day, you know. And that's a lot of stress on somebody who's already not feeling well. So. Yeah.
And the beauty of it is not only that, if we identify that you need to go to the ER, we've assisted the ER by saying, here's how we determined that they needed to be in your facility. Right then and there, right? We've helped them, essentially. We've given you the report. All right, this is the part where you take over, because your facilities have what's needed to treat this patient. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. It comes down to truly being compassionate and caring with patients. What's the best for them, the best for the citizens, even those who don't have insurance? How can we offer some type of service? How can we pair with any insurance company that maybe gets the opportunity to see this or hear about our services? Feel free to reach out to me directly. And we'll be more than happy to talk to you about wellness programs, insurance coverage opportunities, any hospital that if you work at a hospital and you find this appealing, reach out to us. We are more than happy to build relationships within the community, not just in San Antonio. Because I grew up in a small town, it's about how do we get this mobile health care there? How do we bring in what they're calling rural paramedics to those cities? How do we do that? And we're willing to explore that. So any Chamber of Commerce members or mayors of small cities, reach out to us and let's explore what this means for your community and your citizens together. And we can work beginning to end, billing, we can answer those questions, we can give you a program, we can offer assistance, and it'll be great for the citizens. Healthcare is a basic need that you should be able to have.
Well, where can folks find you? What's your website? Social
Where
media?
can folks find us?
ShurMed EMS.
Where can they get their resumes to in the next 7 days?
So you can go to our website for our ambulance company. It's going to be ShurMed EMS, and if you're looking to apply, there's a careers tab. You can go ahead and send us your information there. We're also on LinkedIn. You can email it directly. Also, if you would like, business@ShurMed.com. We would just prefer you do it via the website because my HR team is great at handling those things. And if you're looking and interested in our curriculum, we can send you directly to ArcLight Academy. Go online. We were going to be more than happy to walk you through the financial assistance. These courses, if you are within the city of Bexar County, you have tuitions assistance available. There are going to be some restrictions that we're going to guide you through, and we're going to make sure that the application gets filled out from beginning to end. We're going to walk you through the process to get you in the course. We've got phlebotomy, we've got EMTB, we've got paramedic, we've got continuing education. There are specialty courses too for EMS providers who maybe haven't handled a lot of mental health disorder patients, right? How to identify those things. Or for those of you who are doing sporting events, we have a sports injury course. There's a lot of options in our continued education, along with getting you signed up and starting a new career in healthcare, because you're always going to have a job. And so if you're interested in the care in place for you or your family members, you can go to arclight.care. And you can see how it works from beginning to end. You can set up, or you can always give us a call. Maria, what's our number?
Our number is 210-432-8800.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You better know it. I mean,
I usually have a mouse pad that has our phone number.
You put her on the spot, and she
She
shined.
showed up. That's what I'm talking about. This
I dream
team,
about that number sometimes.
This is why I moved the mic over here. I was like, I hope she doesn't ask. I'm like,
Give it to Maria. Well, is there anything else you guys want to share?
No, ShurMed EMS, we're patient care first, customer service always. That's our motto. That's what we do. We love what we do. We're dedicated individuals. We're here to serve our community, and we just give us a chance.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming out, and ladies.
Yeah.
Guy and ladies.
So
ladies
this is
and guy.
another rarity.
Yeah.
If you're looking, this is leaders that we have a lot of women on our team, and I know that
and men.
we do. And normally, when we're given that narrative, there's usually one woman to maybe 4 men. In this case, our men, from the leadership standpoint, are kind of the minority.
shout out to Pete Costco.
And yeah, Pete Costco is our CEO, and I'm definitely this group that he chose. I mean, he made great choices. He helped develop and mold them, and they will all say we do our own inter-facility podcast, and it's called the Pulsecast that we release to our employees.
Where can they find that?
And that's
Or is it just internal?
That's internal.
Internally, okay.
Yeah, that's for our team. You can find it by joining the ShurMed team.
There you go.
Gain access to the Pulsecast. But within that, it's amazing to speak with these women and leadership and have the ability to learn from them, because they've designed this company and they've learned and grown as the laws have changed. There's laws that change. It's crazy to be like, oh, well, now the law says this. There's so many people who don't realize that when legislation gets passed on healthcare, it comes down to our billers. They have to stay informed on that. Same with our patch levels. One of the things we say in dispatch is like, we want to protect your patch. We don't want to put you in a situation where you feel like your patch may be taken away because of something we may need you or want you to do. That's not the case in any way, shape, or form. So it's amazing to be a part of this team, and we're going to do good things moving forward, and we're so excited to work with the community. So give us the opportunity.
I guess one final thing also, as great as this management team is, I want to take the time and thank all of our staff. Because they're the ones that carry us, to be honest. All the way from our wheelchair drivers, EMTs, advanced paramedics, and every dispatcher we have, and everybody that works under every department here.
Biller.
We honestly want to thank you. You guys work hard day in and day out. 24 hours. We operate 24/7. 365 days, except for this year, 366 days.
He's been dying.
I want to make sure that everybody knows that this is the year.
He said that.
That was my goal.
Every
366 days.
That's the attention. That's the attention to detail.
Yes,
that's what
he
we're
knows.
talking about.
366
I
days
get a
of
pat now.
this
Everybody
year.
pat me in the back now. But honestly, yeah, for sure. We want to thank you guys, for doing the hard work, putting in the hard work every day. I know some of your shifts are pretty early and you stay pretty late. We want to thank you. I know everybody here in this management site wants to thank you as well. I guess I'll give them the opportunity to thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for all your hard work. I mean, we couldn't do this without them. We can be the best marketer, the best educator, the best billers, the best dispatchers, the best director of operations, but it's nothing without our team out there on the ground putting it in all the hard work. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts.
That's awesome.
Nice. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate all of you, and we couldn't do any of this without you.
Mel,
Of course.
Give us-
I always
give us the name again. Give us the
thank
name
the staff. The name again of this company is ShurMed EMS. And we operate under ArcLight Medical, under ArcLight MBC, and ArcLight Education. But at the end of the day, we are all one team, ShurMed EMS. And like these guys said, thank you so much to our staff. We truly will not be, and we're growing, and we're not going to be able to do it without you. So thank you guys so much as our staff. We've gone through changes internally also, and they haven't been easy. We all came from the floor at some point. We all did the legwork. And so we know how important it is to clean up each department to make sure that we are running a smooth operation. And every hiccup we have, we take back, we review the play, we watch film. It's back to your football days.
Sure.
We're taking the runs and we're breaking them down, and we're saying, where could we do better as leaders for our staff, because we're so grateful and thankful for all the hard work that they put in. And we each of us truly mean that from the bottom of our hearts. So ShurMed EMS, give us a chance to provide service for you in any way, events, education. If you have some billing questions, if you need to be transported, reach out to us, and we're going to be more than happy to assist you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you all coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.